The children of Gad and Reuven had a very unusual request from Moshe Rabbeinu. They had asked that they live outside of Eretz Yisrael because they had much livestock. And it was much easier to raise all of these sheep and cattle and flock outside of Eretz Yisrael. Upon hearing this, Moshe Rabbeinu was incredulous. He said to them, "You mean that you're going to allow your brothers to go and fight while you stay here and raise your cattle?" Very difficult to digest for Moshe Rabbeinu. Until finally the Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven, they clarified their position. And they explained that of course they're going to go and do battle. Just give us this land now. And obviously we're going to battle. It will come back to our land outside of Eretz Yisrael. And ultimately the Psukim tell us that Moshe Rabbeinu acquiesced to this very unusual demand. And the Sforno HaKadosh explains why it is that Moshe Rabbeinu did so. The Sforno HaKadosh tells us something very interesting. The Sforno tells us, Kedei shelo lehikanis b'machlokes hiske Moshe l'divrayim, because Moshe Rabbeinu did not want to come and argue with the Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven. Ultimately, he acquiesced to this very unusual, very difficult request. The power of machlokes, Moshe Rabbeinu understood that everything that he had worked for, everything that Klal Yisrael had accomplished, everything that Klal Yisrael was inspired to become could have been destroyed because of machlokes. So interesting that the Nazis, Yimach Shemam v'Zichram, they tried to destroy and eradicate all of the yeshivas in Europe. And there are so many of them that survived the war and replanted, whether in Eretz Yisrael or America. And then, years later, due to machlokes, fight over who is in control of the various yeshivos, machlokes broke out. And ultimately, the yeshivas were destroyed. What the Nazis were not able to accomplish, machlokes, strife, argument, rivalries, those were able to destroy the bastions of Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu understood the power of machlokes. All that was accomplished in the Midbar, the Hakara, the appreciation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, could have all have been destroyed. But Moshe Rabbeinu was much smarter than that. He appreciated how difficult and how destructive machlokes, argument, and strife is. And we know that Moshe Rabbeinu, when Korach was fighting with Moshe, so Dasan va'Aviram were the nemesis of Moshe Rabbeinu. And yet, the Psukim tell us that it was Moshe Rabbeinu who went out to greet Dasan va'Aviram. It was Moshe Rabbeinu who went out to placate Dasan va'Aviram. Because Moshe Rabbeinu tried whatever he could to stop any type of machlokes, to nip it in the bud, because he understood that the tentacles of machlokes are far-reaching, destructive, can destroy anything in its sight. Now we're entering the 9 days. We're in the 9 days. We obviously know that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed because of machlokes, because of strife, because of sinas chinam, baseless, senseless hatred. The only way to rebuild the Beis Hamikdash is to eradicate what destroyed it. We have to love each other. We have to care for each other. We have to go out of our way to be mavater, to give in. Because the only way to rebuild the Beis Hamikdash and bring the Mashiach is to rectify all of the mistakes that brought about its destruction.